This episode is brought to you by HASA. Liquid is clearly better. Liquid chlorine is the highest purity, works immediately, has no added cyanuric acid or calcium, and it will leave your pool safe, clean, and clear. And by the Bottom Feeder professional grade battery powered vacuum system. It sucks to clean pools, so cleaning pools sucks less. Get $100 off with code DVB100.
This episode is brought to you by Skimmer, the #1 pool service software in North America. With Skimmer, you can streamline your schedule, grow your revenue, and keep your customers coming back with 5-star service. Whether you're a one-person operation or an established team, Skimmer is your partner in success. Visit getskimmer.com/poolguy to try Skimmer for free for 30 days.
The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show.
Hi, welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. In this episode, I'm going to take a deep dive into the different types of automatic cleaners. I'll go over some of my favorite choices per category, and I'll dive into which cleaner I think would be best for your particular pool needs. Are you a pool service pro looking to take your business to the next level? Join the Pool Guy Coaching Program. Get expert advice, business tips, exclusive content, and get direct support. For me, I'm a 35-year veteran in the industry. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, I've got the tools to help you succeed. Learn more at swimmingpoollearning.com. I'll start off by saying that this is not truly an unbiased opinion because in my area, the most prevalent cleaner is a suction side cleaner. This is the automatic cleaner that works off of a skimmer or the side part of the pool and is powered by the pool pump. And all the dirt goes into a canister attached to the side or going into the skimmer, and then all the dirt goes into the filter. It's just something that's been dominating the market here for a very long time because of the nature of the debris that we get in our pools, which is a light amount of dirt and then some light amount of leaf debris. Some areas are different where they're more pressure cleaner dominant. Other areas like the Midwest or the middle of the United States, East Coast, are more robotic pool cleaner dominated, mainly because they have a shorter season. And really, there's not a lot of pool service providers in a lot of those rural areas. So the robotic pool cleaner is something that a lot of homeowners will kind of gravitate towards in those situations. Let me give you some numbers, and some of these come from marketing research, others come from LinkedIn. The robotic pool cleaner market has about $401 million in sales, U.S. sales. The suction side cleaner has about $700 million in sales in the U.S., and the pressure side cleaner is roughly $400 million or maybe less than that. That's just an estimate. And suction cleaners do dominate the market still. I think a lot of that goes to the fact that they're the most affordable cleaner, so customers will gravitate towards that particular cleaner line. Now, Zodiac and Polaris are the leader with over 1/3 of the sales pretty much worldwide. Pentair is ranked 3rd with about 13%, and this could be the reason why Pentair has slowly, or not really slowly, but all at once had discontinued the bulk of their automatic cleaners. And I'm going to go to their site and I'll show you the ones they discontinued, which is an amazing amount of cleaners actually. So they have very few left. And Pentair never actually developed a robotic pool cleaner themselves, one of their biggest regrets. So they just repurposed a Dolphin cleaner, put the Prowler brand name on there, and sell that as a Pentair cleaner. But that's actually a Dolphin cleaner. It's not really a Pentair robotic pool cleaner. So what they have left is a couple Prowler robotic pool cleaners. They have the Pentair Rebel, the Creepy Crawly Cruiser, which I don't think would be the one that I would have kept, but Pentair kept that one. The Creepy Crawly Platinum, which is their pressure side cleaner. The Pentair Dorado, which is actually a very underrated cleaner. And then the Creepy Crawly Little Shark for above ground pools. They discontinued the Creepy Crawly, the Pentair Prowler 930, Pentair Racer that had some problems. Pentair Legend, I thought the Legend was better than the Platinum, but they discontinued the Legend. The Great White, Creepy Crawly Legend 2, the Creepy Crawly Easy Vac, the Penter Little Rebel, which is very popular with pool pros, with small pools, and the Creepy Crawly Sand Shark and the Creepy Crawly Warrior. Those are all gone, and I think it's because, of course, sales were probably not keeping up with their competitors, and it's better for Penter to discontinue that, get it off their books, and people are going to miss some of those cleaners, but of course, there are plenty of suction cleaners still available from Floridra, which is Zodiac and Polaris, and Hayward. For pool service, I still believe that the suction side cleaner, depending on your area, of course, is still the best automatic cleaner choice because it's one of those things where you just put it in the pool, you set it and forget it. It does a really good job with dirt, and it does a good job with light leaf debris. So for us in Southern California, this is the go-to cleaner because you don't have to rely on the customer putting in, so let's say, a robotic pool cleaner every day or every time you service the pool. And it's just like someone standing there with a manual vacuum attached to a hose, and you're vacuuming the pool 8 or 10 hours a day. They're also the most affordable cleaner type, like I mentioned, because of the fact that you can get one for sometimes under $200 that's still effective, but typically anywhere from $500 to $300 is a pretty good cleaner for your pool. And since they're affordable and they're easy to operate and maintain, you can change the parts usually at the pool side. A lot of these parts are modular, which means that when one part wears out, you just kind of take off that part and put in a new part, and the cleaner is good to go. So that's another reason why people like these cleaners. You don't have to replace the entire cleaner very often. You can just keep changing parts in that cleaner and give it a lot of longevity. And the Pool Guy Podcast Show has teamed up with UPA to bring you affordable, reliable liability insurance starting at just $64 a month. Get up to $2 million in coverage, and the members of my coaching group get an even lower rate. Protect your business and your peace of mind. Sign up with UPA today by clicking the link in the podcast description. Now, the pressure side cleaners are also popular. I tend to like them. They're not super popular in my area because we don't have pools with the specifically leaf debris versus dirt. Although they do a decent job with dirt, they're not designed for the fine dirt. If you have the Polaris cleaner, Polaris 280, you can get a sand silk bag on top, and it actually does a really good job with dirt in most cases. So that's an option there. But they're not primarily designed for areas with a lot of dirt. They're designed for areas with a lot of leaf debris, and they do wear out often, and the parts are not quite as easy to change as a suction side cleaner, but they are relatively easy compared to other types of cleaners, like robotic pool cleaners, I should say, which is more difficult. You have to send those into a service center. I'll get to that in a minute. But pressure cleaners can also be repaired, in most cases, back at a shop. You could do them poolside, I guess, but they take longer. And so they're pretty reliable. They also pick up a lot of large debris because they have a large opening. And of course, since Penter only has one pressure side cleaner left and Hayward discontinued their pressure side cleaner, the only real choice for the pressure side cleaner are the Polaris models. And they have a few of those models. And Polaris kind of dominated the market for many years, and they still dominate the market. It's funny when Hayward came out with their Trivac 500 and 700. When I talked to the sales rep, I told them, why did they create a pressure cleaner to compete against Polaris, which is more expensive than the Polaris 280? And he looked at me and he said, I have no idea what they're thinking. And I said the same thing that he said. Basically, if I was in that board meeting, I would say, if you're going to create a pressure cleaner priced at $100 cheaper than the Polaris 280, so you can capture some of that market, because the Polaris 280 dominates the market and doesn't make any sense to create a cleaner that competes against it that doesn't work as effectively and costs more money than the dominant cleaner on the market. But hey, I don't work for Hayward. They didn't ask me my opinion. I'm just doing this kind of after the fact. It's just not logical what they did with that cleaner. And then, of course, they discontinued it. And so the only pressure cleaner again is a Polaris, which is a good cleaner. And so that's kind of like what you're left with. And I'll just give you my pressure side cleaner pick here. I like the Polaris 280. It's basic, easy to work on. It's effective. It's basically the same original design that they've had since they came out with the pressure cleaner like 40 something years ago. All the parts are almost identical to the Polaris 180, which is their first model. And so why mess with something that's almost perfect? Just get the Polaris 280 if you have a pressure side setup. The pressure side setup, of course, has a separate booster pump, and then the cleaner connects to a dedicated port. Now, if you wanted a pressure cleaner and didn't have the pool designed for one, you could purchase what's known as a return side cleaner, which is the Polaris 360. It's actually one of my favorite cleaners. It's really underrated, but it will work in most pools without a booster pump, as long as you have at least a 1 horsepower pump, a regular size filter, and you have 1.5-inch threaded return lines. You can actually install this and kind of convert one of your return jets into the dedicated jet that a pressure cleaner would use. And again, it works without a booster pump. So it's actually a really good cleaner, and hopefully they never discontinue it because it is a good option for a lot of pool owners that don't have the pressure side cleaner. I'm going to back up a little bit and I'll focus on my pick for the top suction cleaner. And it wasn't any of the Pentair models that were discontinued. It's actually the Hayward Pool Vernugan or Pool Cleaner, Aquanaut, Phoenix Cleaner. They're all the same. And this is the top cleaner in my opinion because it's affordable, it cleans the pool well, it lasts a very long time as far as the parts don't wear out very often, and it does a great job cleaning the bottom of the pool. It picks up oak leaves, acorns, larger leaf debris, as well as dirt. The only downside, I take some points off because it doesn't climb the walls and clean the walls that effectively, but 90% of the dirt's on the floor, and you can simply just brush the pool walls, which you should be doing anyway. And this cleaner, I think, is still the top cleaner out there on the market. Nothing really comes close to it. It was designed many, many years ago. Again, another reason why it works so well. It was designed in an era where people were actually designing really good, robust products. My second choice would be the Polaris Atlas or Max cleaner. Same cleaner, just sold in different outlets, and they have different color schemes. These cleaners are really great. They actually do a very similar job as the Hayward cleaners that I mentioned, except they climb the walls to the water line really effectively in most pools. So you have the best of both worlds, basically. A cleaner that does a great job on the surface as well as the walls of the pool. The reason why I don't have it ranked as number one, and I kind of go back and forth on these things, and I wouldn't discourage you from either one of these. They're pretty close. I'm almost tied, I would say. But the reason why I still give the edge to the Hayward cleaner is because the parts are more robust, and the Atlas and Max cleaner, you're going to be changing parts a lot more often. Even though the parts are modular, you're going to be changing them. The Polaris, Max, and Atlas do have a slight defect, which is they redesigned the intake because the MX-8 Elite, which is what it's based on, had a problem with large stringy leaf debris. It would get tangled up in the engine and the cleaner would stop. So it made that cleaner pretty much useless if you had a pool with any debris that was 6 inches or longer. Well, they fixed that problem with the Max and Atlas cleaner by having a halo turbine that pulls in the debris. The only problem is if a little pebble gets stuck in there in a certain way, it gets sucked in perfectly, it can jam that halo. So it has kind of the same effect that you would have with a long stringy leaf debris. So if you have a Pebble Tech pool or a pool that gets pebbles in it, this cleaner will sometimes get jammed up. So just be aware of that they've fixed it, but then it kind of went the other direction now, where a small little pebble, will stop the cleaner. Larger rocks won't, but small little pebbles will, because it gets stuck between the wall of the halo turbine and the wall of the cleaner. Also, I found that the drive shaft can wear off on one side of the cleaner versus the other, and so you may be changing the drive shafts more often on the Max and Atlas cleaner. Not sure why it does that. Maybe it leans towards one side more than another in certain pools, but that's another thing that you have to be aware of. But the Hayward Aquanaut Phoenix and pool cleaner has just been perfected over the years by the original designer, the Pool Vernugan company, and it's a pretty bulletproof cleaner. Now, I saved robotic pool cleaners for the end, not because I don't like them and not because they have a problem. It's just that pool service pros aren't leaning towards those as much because it does take some effort from the homeowner. Unless you put it on a weekly cycle, there are a few that can do that, the Polaris and Dolphin cleaners that do a weekly cleaning cycle. But relying on the customer to put the cleaner in the pool is counterproductive. The pool service, suction side cleaners and pressure cleaners are definitely preferred in my area, and robotic pool cleaners would be the third one that would be referred to a customer, although I do like them, and I think specifically for homeowners doing their own pool maintenance without pool service, they're actually perfect. They clean the pool better than the other two cleaner types, pressure cleaners and suction cleaners, and there's a ton of cordless options out there now that are effective with longer and longer battery lives, so that's an option as well. I wouldn't recommend the cordless cleaner for my customers because they have to take it out and charge it. And what's going to happen when you get to the pool to service it, it'll be sitting in the pool dead, basically. Then you have to put it on the charger yourself, and then you can't use that cleaner during your stop or visit. So for the pool service, I would say the cordless cleaners are not quite as effective as the corded cleaners because if the customer doesn't put it in the pool, you can put it in the pool during your service day and have it clean the pool, if that makes sense. But I do like robotic pool cleaners, and I think they're going to dominate the market here as they've dominated the market in Europe. In fact, I've heard from different sources that in Europe, you can't even get a suction cleaner anymore. It's all robotic pool cleaners when you go into an outlet to get it. The only country that's still kind of a holdout is Australia, because creepy crawly Australia is a powerful entity and they're like blocking robotic pool cleaners from coming in. Basically, they really want to keep the suction cleaner market intact in Australia, but you can still buy a robotic pool cleaner in Australia. Suction cleaners still dominate that market though. What are some of the robotic pool cleaners that I like? Well, you can't go wrong with the Polaris robotic pool cleaner. They're pretty much bulletproof. The Dolphin cleaners are also really good. I would rank them pretty much neck and neck as far as which one I recommend. I do like the Dolphin filtration system better. It has the multi-filter, so it has an ultrafine cartridge type liner in the filter, which is great for dirt to 20 microns. If you get a Polaris cleaner, you have to buy a secondary canister, the ultrafine canister, which is rated, they say, for 70 microns, but I think it's more like a 30 or 40 micron canister in my testing. But, I can't really say. That's what they say, 70 microns, I believe, or 60 microns is what they claim it's at. But the Dolphin, of course, is at 20 microns. And then the iPair cleaners have gotten their filters down to 3 microns, which is the same as a DE filter. So it just depends on what kind of debris you have and which one you want to choose. In most cases, I recommend the Polaris, but if you have a pool with really fine dirt, I would recommend a Dolphin cleaner or even iPair cleaner because it gets down to 3 microns. As far as reliability and engineering, I definitely give the edge to Polaris. They do make a robotic pool cleaner, and I think cleans the pool slightly better than the Dolphin. Although the Dolphin is great, Polaris does have a slight edge over them. You put it in a pool and the Polaris cleaner is not going to leave any spots uncleaned, where the Dolphin may miss a few spots. It's kind of a minor thing, but I do think engineering Polaris does have the edge over Dolphin. Dolphin has the edge over Polaris in filtration, so it's kind of a trade-off at that point. I did mention that a suction cleaner and a pressure cleaner can be repaired at the pool side in a lot of cases. Robotic pool cleaners, unless it's something simple as a belt or something like that, you have to actually send it into a repair center, or if there's one locally, you could take it in there, and it may be down for 3 or 4 weeks as you send it in, they fix it and send it back to you. So that's a drawback, that you're going to not have a cleaner for up to 3 weeks in a lot of cases, sometimes longer. So if you really think about it, that's a drawback that a lot of consumers don't think about when they purchase it, but you need to have a backup cleaner. I always suggest having 2 cleaners for your pool, a suction cleaner, and then a robotic pool cleaner you can use to polish the pool when you're having a party, or if you just want a really deep clean put the robotic pool cleaner in the pool. And of course, you can clean the pool manually with a manual vacuum head and a hose, and you can vacuum out leaf debris with the vacuum system. I'm not saying that you can't clean your pool manually. I'm just saying that automatic cleaners by design are supposed to leave the pool clean and take kind of that manual labor away from you. And if you have a good cleaner that's effective, you won't need to manually vacuum your pool. Maybe once in a while you have to brush certain areas and maybe skim out certain areas of the pool, but the automatic cleaner should be leaving the pool pretty spotless every week. I recommend having one in every pool on your pool route. A lot of pool companies here in my area will charge more of a premium for an account without one, and I always sell them to customers. I won't do a pool here without an automatic cleaner in it. To me, they're a great asset to pool service. It's going to make your pools stay a lot cleaner during the week. You're doing less manual work at the pool, and you can focus on the chemistry of the pool, brushing the tiles, brushing the pool, keeping it algae free, and not really do a lot of manual labor. Now, if you are in a pool service company or area like mine, where you do get some light, sometimes heavy debris, having a vacuum system is a great way to vacuum each pool each week and not have to get the hose out, put the vacuum head in there, especially if you have a suction cleaner that gets the dirt out. So I recommend, of course, having the bottom feeder. That way you can just drop it in and vacuum a pool in 3 minutes and then move on to the other parts of servicing that pool. If you're looking for other podcasts, you can find those by subscribing to my YouTube channel every Monday through Friday. I put an episode there. Also, if you go to my website, swimmingpoollearning.com, on the banner, there's a podcast icon. Click on that, and then there'll be 1,700 podcasts available for you, over 1,700. And if you're interested in the coaching program that I offer, you can learn more at poolguycoaching.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a great rest of your week. God bless. This episode is brought to you by HASA, providing products that deliver clean, healthy water for every aspect of everyday life. The bottom feeder battery-powered vacuum system, portable, powerful, and only weighs 12 pounds. And Skimmer. Get Skimmer, America's #1 pool service software. Podcast listeners can try Skimmer for free at getskimmer.com/poolguy.